What's up guys, Rob the Awesome here, and today we're going to take a look at the situational selection of engineer melees that the game has to offer, and deciding which is the best and which is the worst. Let's go! Before I start, there are certain things you should know before watching. These guys don't just focus purely on the stats, we also focus on the psychological portion of the weapon as well, and how it affects both the user of the weapon and the victims against it, so keep that in mind while watching. Another thing is that if a weapon isn't listed in this video, then the only reason for that is because it's a reskin of another weapon. End of story. Lastly, I advise people to read the pinned comment at the top of the comment section to understand what these guides are about and what my intentions are when making them. It's important to understand the reasoning for why I do these guides and grasp the bigger picture for past, present, and future best and worst videos. Alright, we good? Here we go. Like always, let's start with the Stalk Ridge. This mechanized melee is your key tool as engineer to help construct buildings fast and upgrade them to new heights. Though the wrench is like any melee in the game in terms of damage, the wrench itself has the ability to upgrade your buildings from levels 1 through 3 and repair them when they get hurt. When putting down a new building, an engineer can use his wrench to constantly bap his buildings and increase the construction speed by 2.5 times the normal rate. With the 200 max metal count your engineer carries, each swing takes 25 metal to help build the sentry between levels and requires 200 metal, or generally 8 swings per level. If your sentry starts to take damage, the metal cost focuses on the repairs first instead of upgrading to the next level, using at max 34 metal to heal 102 building health per swing. An engineer's role is to place his buildings in important spots where his team could benefit from his dispenser's healing and his sentry's objective blocking capabilities. Throw in a teleporter for fast travel, and your team will thank you for making their jobs a whole lot easier. The wrench should help in making buildings stronger, build faster, and overall be repairable without effort. It doesn't hurt to have some good damage in there too, but ultimately the engineer's wrench is your tool to improve not only your buildings, but also the lives of everyone on your team. A lot of wrenches will have many strengths in specific areas, but for now we'll put this weapon right in the middle and go from there. Next up on the construction line is the Southern Hospitality. This constructive and over-the-top looking wrench holds the ability to do bleed damage on hit. You achieve 40 bleed damage in the span of 5 seconds. Add on the average 65 damage most melees already do, and you arrive at 105 damage per swing. Not a bad way to kill 175 health classes in 2 hits. However, the downsides are that there are no random critical hits on the weapon, which ultimately doesn't matter a lot of the time. And it has a major and super devastating downside of having 20% extra damage vulnerability from any and all fire weapons. Wait. Are those seriously considered downsides? No random critical hits and extra vulnerability to fire? Are you kidding me? For an upside that can pretty much two-shot any 175 health class or lower within 5 seconds, and of course without overheal, for tiny downsides like this is a travesty. I mean, okay. Sure, you aren't going to be going around everywhere hitting classes with your wrench when you should be setting up a sentry nest and manning down the stations. But that doesn't make up for the non-existent downsides this weapon already wields. How often does an engineer and a pyro meet? Like, never. Not to mention, 20% extra fire damage still does nothing different. Taking the existing 164 damage a second from a stock flamethrower, which should already kill you to begin with, and adding 20% more makes it have around 200 damage a second. It's still gonna kill you all the same, if it even gets the chance to, which it won't. But what about flare guns? I'm sure engineers might get hit from one of those. Flare guns do 30 damage a hit, but with an additional 20%, it will instead do 36 damage. Devastating! Instead of dealing 6 damage a second, or in this case 3 per tick of afterburn, you will now be dealt 8 damage a second, or 4 per tick. Whoopee. And can we all just remember for a second that when you have a sentry nest set up, that you also have a dispenser with you too? That'll probably save you from the afterburn regardless, and I doubt a pyro can get near your sentry nest, or even want to get near your sentry nest to begin with. Sure, the bleeding may not be the biggest upside in the world, even if it can two-shot 7 of the 9 classes. The downsides are pretty much non-existent, and it ultimately feels like a straight upgrade overall. Because of that, this weapon goes above the stock wrench. The bleeding is great when you can track spies trying to sap your stuff for an easy 2-tap. It may not be the greatest thing in the world, but compared to the crappy downsides, this is pretty much like the stock wrench, but better. As constructive as applying sharp metal to a wrench is, let's take a step forward into the future with the Eureka effect. The atomic research put into this wrench, mixed with a flash of lightning, gives you the power of teleportation. By pressing your reload key, you can choose between going back to your spawn or your own teleporter exit after doing a short 2-second taunt. No need to travel long walking distances anymore, thank you Future Wrench! You also get an additional advantage of having 50% less metal cost when constructing or upgrading teleporters, turning the 50 metal cost of teleporters into 25 and transforming the 200 metal upgrade cost into 100 per level. As great as the future sounds, the downsides are that the construction hit speed boost is decreased by 50%, making it harder to spawn new or pre-existing buildings once you put them down. And also, you receive 20% less metal from pickups and dispensers, making it difficult to get metal in order to sustain sentry nests and constant reconstructions. Oh boy, the future sounds complicated? So you can teleport to certain locations and your teleporters cost less to make an upgrade. Yay? I mean, that's great and all, but teleporters aren't the end-all be-all, right? Compared to a construction speed boost decrease and receiving less metal from everything, sounds like a high price to pay for something so mediocre. But let's try to think positive. At least it gives you more incentive to build teleporters without wasting too much metal or setup time. However, you can just place an entrance at your spawn door with any other wrench, go back inside, collect some more metal, and run back out to upgrade it. It's really not that hard and ultimately gives you something to do during setup. Even if the upgrade and building cost does save you a couple of seconds during setup time, you still have a crapload of time to build an entire sentry nest super fast and have plenty of time to spare. It's not like you're ever going to be late to the party or anything. But teleportation, that's pretty cool, right? The teleport to spawn can be useful when you have a forward sentry nest that's inevitably going to go down, so that's neat. But the teleporter exits are kinda odd. The only strategy I can see working with that is the typical ninja strategy of laying a lonely exit behind them, spawning there, and building right behind them. Except that enforces super bad habits and you'd be fighting a war on two fronts instantly. Your team needs you to be their stationary defense that will stop the enemy forces from barging down into your objective. If you decide to ninja, then you'll be letting your entire team down just to do some gimmicky and easily counterable playstyle. The only cool thing I can see from all this is that you can teleport back to your spawn. But why would you want to do that again? Oh right, your sentry nest is about to go down. Wait a minute, that's funny. Why would it go down? Oh, maybe because of the construction speed boost decrease and that 20% less metal from everything is instantly kicking your rear end? So for less costing teleporters and teleportation with bad habits, you get a ton of downsides that make it tough for a sentry nest to go up and can be rolled instantly by a team that keeps pushing forward? Alright. Because the payout really isn't worth all the downsides, and that the other wrenches are far more suitable for what Engineer needs to be doing, this weapon goes below the stock wrench. For all you ninja out there, I know just how well this weapon can work, but in reality, teleportation isn't going to justify for the lack of defense your team needs you to fulfill. This weapon puts on you forcefully bad downsides just to make the upsides seem good. Don't let the upsides fool you. The future isn't as bright or as good as people hope for. I think I've had just about enough of the future. Let's take a step backwards with the Jag. This standard and efficient wrench offers a 30% increased construction hit speed boost, having buildings sprout into action faster than normal. The wrench is also lightweight, giving off a 15% faster firing speed for swift hits and fast repairs on and off the sentry nest. Those sound like plentiful upsides. However, the wrench has a 20% slower repair rate, making it slightly easier for enemies to take your buildings down. The wrench also has a 25% damage penalty. It's going to be troubling to do any damage with your wrench when spies or enemies try to get too close. Lastly, your wrench has a 33% damage penalty versus buildings, enabling sappers to do more destructive damage with time and making it harder to take them off now that you have to do 3 swings instead of the usual 2. Faster building setups and sentry nests does seem like a fantastic bonus this wrench provides, especially when you can swing your wrench 50% faster to upgrade, construct, and repair buildings super fast. Even if an enemy does take it down, if your team can hold them back, or if you can get out of dodge, you'll have more than enough time to set everything back up and start over again like nothing even happened. How do the downsides stack in comparison though? For starters, the slower repair rate. Instead of repairing the usual 102 building health for 34 metal, take 20% away from that and you only heal 81 building health for 27 metal. That doesn't sound so good, until you remember that you have a faster swing speed. The faster swing speed matched with the slower repair rates almost pretty much cancel each other out to have a similar repair rate to that of the Stalk Wrench. But what about the damage penalty against players and buildings? If a spider decides to invade your space and sap your sentry nest, the odds are in his favor. If you decide to go at him with your gun or wrench, you won't be able to kill him in time to then go back to removing the sapper, which requires 3 swings to take off. If you decide to take the sapper off first, you need to once again do 3 swings, which gives Spy enough time to go in for a free backstab or revolver kill. Despite the faster swing speed, it's still going to hold you back and really does the Spy a huge favor if your nest is secluded and away from other people. So the biggest downfall with this wrench is spies. They will come in and ruin your day. This will at least make you more cautious of spies if they do decide to pop their little heads into your plans. Ultimately though, other than the whole spy infestation problem, this wrench is looking up to be exactly the type of wrench your team needs to succeed. Faster swing speed, fast construction times, and equal repair rates in the long run are a lot of help for your team. You can even set up some crazy forward level 3 sentry spots before the other team has a chance to notice. There's a lot to be had with this weapon and a lot of strategy that can go behind it too. Because the downsides can be counteracted with a consistent eye on spies, or a teammate that can do that for you, and the upsides are superiorly helpful to your team in need, this weapon goes above the Southern hospitality. It's not unusual for spies to throw a wrench into your plans, but with the Jag, you just have to be even more careful. It enforces good habits to stop spies from doing stuff to your buildings before it's too late, and with upsides like these, it's an amazing payoff that you can't miss out on. The last and most controversial piece of artillery we need to talk about is the Gunslinger. This bad boy swaps your right hand with a robotic replacement. How cool is that? With the addition of your cool new hand, you receive an additional 25 HP to your overall health, turning your poor 125 health Engie into the 150 health credit to team. Sentry build speed is increased by 150%, making Sentry spring to action without needing to hit them. What excellent weaponry! Your robot hand is looking to be the coolest thing ever, but it gets better. With every 3rd successful punch in a row, you will always crit to pretty much kill any class without overheal dead. Wowzers, what a fantastic state-of-the-art tool. I need to get me one of those. But wait, there are still downsides. You can't get any random critical hits with this weapon, which we all know doesn't matter in the long run. But the Gunslinger ultimately replaces your sentry gun with a mini sentry that has increased fire rate and only costs 100 metal compared to the standard 130 a normal sentry would normally cost, but can't be upgraded and is sadly disposable with very low building health. No level 3 sentry? That must be awful! Except, not really. For starters, you can build 2 for the price of 1 with your total metal count. If one goes down, just build another one. Medium-sized ammo packs can be found pretty much everywhere on the map. With your newfound mobility, you can go around and keep refreshing your stock to the max by killing people or just looking around for the map, for constant and consistent minis everywhere. Mini sentries also have the psychological value of being annoying and force flank members like soldier scouts and even pyros to stay back until it is destroyed. It even takes snipers to focus down on the minis instead of other targets at times. Another thing is the faster build rate. With a 150% faster sentry build time, you have the freedom to place it down and go away. With mini sentries, an engineer can actually play as part of the flank and, with his 150 HP, be a slower yet fatter second scout. You can place a mini sentry as part of a defensive measure, a mid-range stall, or a front and forward momentum of attack as part of the flank. With offensive pressure, you can lay a mini sentry down and it gives the enemy a choice that ultimately goes in your favor. He can try to shoot at you, having that one-on-one he wants, but when the mini will be built, it will be a 2v1 in no time. Or he could go for the sentry first and, in his moment of weakness, you strike him twice with your shotgun or robotic hand and he dies. It's a win-win situation. The Gunslinger is pretty much a direct upgrade in the right circumstances and can be efficient and versatile in both defensive and offensive measures, depending on the map. The Gunslinger is without a doubt in the top 2 best wrenches for the engineer. But here's where things get difficult. In one sentence, the name of the game changes. Minis are situational. I came into this best and worst all happy and giddy, thinking this list was going to be a piece of cake. The Gunslinger is great. Why wouldn't it be high up? But now we've struck the controversial argument that nobody wants to touch on. The argument of which is better, a wrench or a gunslinger. There have been a few people who say the Gunslinger is nothing more than a gimmick, a rushdown flank and forward weapon that doesn't help the team defensively, thus making it worse. However, there are others that say the Mini can be just as good for defending as a level 3 can, in the right circumstances, and that the inevitability to give engineers more than one playstyle can be far more helpful in the long run. So now we're here, the Jag versus the Gunslinger. Which is better? I'm gonna have to make a decision, and like an umpire in baseball, no matter what I pick, half of you are going to boo. The Jag is a great weapon for setting things up quick and holding down the fort like a good engineer is supposed to. Fast buildup, fast repairs, fast swing speed, it's got everything the engineer could possibly need. Even with all of that in mind though, the Gunslinger has things a wrench doesn't. There are 3 key factors I'm gonna touch on that the Gunslinger has that the Jag does not. For starters, accessibility with weapons. The Gunslinger's multi-tactic ability utilizes a majority of primary and secondary weapon combos that a wrench can't necessarily have. When running level 3s, your thoughts instantly go towards a Rescue Ranger and a Wrangler a lot of the time. Am I wrong? Anything to keep that level 3 alive, am I right? Why would you need to run anything else when those 2 weapons are the only things you'll need to keep it up? Many sentries on the other hand can be played defensively, mid-range, or offensively. You can run a shotgun, a Frontier Justice, Widowmaker, pretty much any shotgun, and pretty much any secondary with it and utilize the maximum potential of each one to the fullest. That's strike number 1. Secondly, your entire being isn't relied on a sentry gun, or to put it simply, versatility. When you run a level 3 and the nest that follows, your entire being is put into that nest. Protected at all costs, upgraded as fast as possible, hold down the fort. That's wonderful, perfect for team play and doing what an engineer needs to do. But what about after? If someone takes down your nest, what else do you have? Keep building that nest. But once a good push starts, you've got nothing. Many sentries can indeed be used defensively, mid-ranged, or offensively to be distracting and overall hold classes off from accessing other necessities on your team, like a medic. Your sentry is disposable, and your entire playstyle doesn't revolve around that sentry. You've got enough spare ammo and movement options to get more metal and keep building dispensers in more forward locations and sentries for the exact same price. You can be helpful to your flank by being that secondary-like scout that can hold a choke with your own body, while your sentry holds off in other locations. That's strike number 2. The last and most important thing the Gunslinger has over something like the Jag is usability. The biggest argument a wrench has over a Gunslinger is that level 3s are more useful than minis. Let's put that to the test. Take the 5 primary game modes in TF2. Capture the flag, King of the Hill, Control Point, Attack and Defend, and Payload. Which weapon is used more in each game mode? Once you figure out that answer, everything should be crystal clear. Let's start with Payload. The typical thing to do is run minis on offense and level 3s on defense. You can't argue there. Level 3s are needed on defense to stop massive pushes and force used Ubers to come and take it out. However, on offense, you don't have enough time or resources to utilize a level 3 strategy properly. I mean, it can be done, but as an engineer you should push with Scout for the 3x on cart and place minis down near the cart as an extra form of attack. So for Payload, it's a tie. The next game mode is Control Point, a huge map with a ton of variety on strategy. You can run level 3s for last and move them forward once you've capped a control point. But you can also run a Gunslinger to push in with flank, hold small choke points, and use that to push in with teammates and use everything you've got as engineer into that push. I'm still not sure. It seems like a tie for that one too. I'm sensing a pattern here. Capture the flag and Attack and Defend are the same way too. Gunslinger for offense and wrench for defense. But now we're going to have to go to our last game mode, King of the Hill. See where I'm going with this? Small like maps with not many level 3 holds, the biggest and utmost wrench engineers use is a Gunslinger, on both sides of the equation. A small mini takes up a lot of room on such a small map, and since engineers don't stray far with the flank, it's like he's taking up a huge portion of the map without wasting all of his resources on a level 3 that people will see coming a mile away. The Gunslinger wins on King of the Hill, the one game mode where minis are considered a crutch and a curse on the game mode itself. And that, my friends, is strike number 3. Even if that last one is a hollow victory, it's still considered more useful to an extent. Because of these reasons, this weapon goes above the Jag. Guys, I can hear those angry comments already. It was a difficult choice I had to make. No matter what decision I made, I would have been scolded all the way. Give credit where credit is due. Engineer melees are some of the most, if not the most, situational weapons in the game. Level 3s beat out minis in some places and vice versa. All of Engineer's wrenches are viable and have unique strategies that can be used to benefit your team in one or more ways. The Gunslinger just has exceptional uses that work well with the rest of your arsenal, even having minis that don't stray too far away from the normal playstyles if utilized correctly. It can benefit your team in a different way than normal. And it's a freaking robot hand! Are you saying if a wrench were to lose to anything that you'd be salty that a Terminator hand beat it out? I don't think so, pal. And those are the best and worst Engineer melee weapons. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you want to see more of these types of informational videos, leave a like and subscribe to let me know. Remember to be awesome, stay awesome, and to have an awesome day. I'm Rob the Awesome, and I'll see you guys later. Ciao for now.
Motherfucker, I'm awesome. No, you're not, dude. Don't lie. I'm awesome. I'm driving around in my mom's ride. I'm awesome. A quarter of my life gone by, and I met all my friends online. Motherfucker, I'm awesome. I will run away from a brawl. I'm awesome. There's no voicemail, nobody calls. I'm awesome. I can't afford to buy 8 balls, and I talk to myself on my Facebook wall. You know my pants sag.